This is the Samsung Galaxy Watch 4 and I was so pumped about both the sleek design and the promise of this new Wear OS that combines the best of Wear and Tizen that I went out and pre-ordered it the week that it was announced. The last time that I pre-ordered a tech product was back in 2016 with the Galaxy Note 7, and we all know how that ended up being. RIP my Galaxy Note 7. So after about a month of wearing this Galaxy Watch 4, I'm here to talk about whether Samsung's first Wear OS smartwatch in years has lived up to the hype that pushed me to pre-order it. The first thing I want to get out there is the perspective I'm coming from for this review. So I personally use a Samsung phone and I've also been using Samsung wearables since 2016. This means that I'm pretty accustomed to apps like Samsung Health, Samsung Pay, and first-party Samsung applications. Also, it's important to know that I mainly use a smartwatch to check the date and time, track my sleep, and view incoming notifications. I'm also not a huge workout person, so I only occasionally use the workout tracking capabilities on my smartwatch. And with that out of the way, I want to dive straight into the hardware of the Galaxy Watch 4. My Galaxy Watch 4 is the 44mm Wi-Fi only model in silver, and I have paired it with this hybrid leather band in mustard yellow from Samsung. The hardware features like the display, speaker, and button tactility are pretty much identical to my old Watch Active 2, which means that they're excellent. This display is perfectly visible outdoors, and the speaker sounds sufficiently loud and clear for phone calls. Under the watch, there is this new 3-in-1 sensor that Samsung is calling the bioactive sensor. That paired with the two symmetrical buttons on the side allows the watch to measure body composition in just 30 seconds. I used it a couple of times and I have to say the animations that they have here looks pretty slick. I can't speak to the accuracy of the readings themselves, but it generated pretty consistent results for the most part. Additionally, the sensor is also capable of monitoring my heart rate, taking ECG readings, and measuring my blood oxygen levels. Furthermore, I was pleasantly surprised to find out that the bottom sensors on the Watch 4 are nearly flat versus having a slight bump like on older Samsung smartwatches. This is somewhat of a big deal for someone like me that wears a smartwatch for nearly 24 hours a day. This flat bottom means that the Watch 4 feels a little bit more comfortable on my wrist than the Watch Active 2, and when I do take it off, it won't leave sort of a dent on my skin. All around the watch, you can see this new flat edge design that Samsung is introducing with the Galaxy Watch 4. Gone are the smooth curves of Galaxy watches of the past, and in is this symmetrical and flat design. That includes the display itself, which no longer curves into the case of the watch. But as I quickly realized, this flattened design is prone to picking up grime between the flat edges of the case. On the upside, the Watch 4's design retains the same milled standard 810G and IP68 water and dust resistant ratings from the older models. And in case if you're wondering, no, I've not worn this watch into the shower yet. I am still mentally scarred from what happened to my first Watch Active 2. Part of the thing that contributes to the sleekness of the Watch 4 is this new strap design that Samsung is introducing. Essentially, this strap fills in the space between the watch lugs and the circular case. I have to say that it looked really nice in Samsung's promotional material, but in reality, that extra rubber lip that Samsung added meant that I need to wear the strap a little bit tighter to make it fit snugly on my wrist. This is because the strap sits so tightly between the watch lugs and thus prevents it from bending beyond a certain point. Wearing the strap this tightly does end up leaving a stretch mark under my wrist when I take off the watch strap. Not to mention that since the strap has a fairly specific shape, it prevents me from using it on anything but the Galaxy Watch 4. All in all, I'll switch back to my trusty nylon strap after the novelty of this watch band wears off in a month or two. As for durability, the silver aluminum is holding up well so far. I am pretty rough with my smartwatches and I don't put too much effort or thought into preventing it from dings and whatnot. In fact, I have already accidentally knocked the watch on various surfaces, but it still looks pristine. Only time will tell how well this design will hold up. I do wish that Samsung would have offered a stainless steel case option on the Watch 4 like on the Watch Active 2 versus just reserving the stainless steel case option for the higher end Galaxy Watch 4 Classic. Moving on to the software, which is arguably the part of the watch that I was most excited about, the idea that Google and Samsung are combining their expertise into one operating system sounded too good to be true for me. In the past month of using the Watch 4, I didn't notice any major issues with the new Wear OS 3. It was surprisingly stable and the interface was as snappy as what the Tizen software that was running on my old Watch Active 2 felt like. The Watch 4 is powered by Samsung's new 5nm dual-core chipset that is 20% faster than the chipset found on the Watch Active 2. All the software features like the health tracking functionalities, the widgets, and the notifications just work like they do on my Watch Active 2. There are some minor differences like not being able to set a background for the notification section or the app drawer being displayed as a vertical list, but those are really just software tweaks that could be updated in the future. But dare I say that Wear OS 3 on the Galaxy Watch 4 is for the most part a carbon copy of the interface on Samsung's Tizen-based smartwatches. I say this because one of the most frustrating things about my Watch Active 2 is still present on the Watch 4. And that is how some of the watch settings are not available to be configured on the companion Galaxy wearable app. I understand why some settings like Bluetooth or Wi-Fi can't be toggled from my phone, but I don't get why I'm not able to change any of the Samsung health tracking features or setting permissions for certain apps from my phone. Now you might be saying, Dick Wyn, why don't you just change the settings on the watch itself since everything is available there? Well, my answer to that is that navigating and scrolling the settings on the watch isn't exactly the most fun thing to do, and sometimes the setting just isn't categorized in the section that I thought it would be, or I accidentally just scrolled past it because I was trying to rush through it. Likewise, when I change the setting on the Galaxy wearable app on my phone, I can leverage the search box that indexes all the settings that are available through the app. As for other parts of the operating system, there are two minor annoyances that I hope gets resolved soon in a future software update. The first of which is that you can't hide apps in the app drawer. The Watch 4 comes preloaded with a laundry list of apps, and I personally only use a handful of them, not to mention that preloaded apps like Bixby or the Reminders app can't be uninstalled. The best thing I can do right now is just to drag these apps that I don't use to the bottom of the list. Another thing with Wear OS is that when an app is in standby mode, meaning that it is ready to be activated when I touch on the screen, a text-based clock is displayed when the screen times out, versus showing my watch face, which was the case with my Watch Active 2. This means that in order to view data from a complication on my watch face like the date or my heart rate, I'll need to hit the home button to view it and then reopen the app again. But enough about the core operating system. The part I was most looking forward to with the Watch 4 is the ability to tap into a larger selection of apps with the Google Play Store. However, as I quickly realized, there was only one app that I wanted to download, which was the Google Messages app. Other smartwatch apps that were previously not available on Tizen, like the Google Maps app, looked cool at first, but I didn't see the point of using it because I lived in a city where driving is the norm, so it doesn't make sense for me to use it on my watch. And then there is the Google Assistant app / integration that is hopefully coming soon. I am pretty excited to try that out. Let me know down in the comments if you want to see me do a video when that comes out. But yeah, having access to the Google Play Store wasn't as big of a deal as I first thought it would be. I think it's because all of the core functionalities that I want from a smartwatch like fitness tracking, alarms, a voice recorder, and a payment app are already built into the watch as preloaded apps. To sum up this app situation here, while I don't need to download any third-party apps right now, just having the option to do so is a big plus for me. That way that if I do one day decide that I want to try out something different, I will have the choice to do so. Before I slide into the conclusion of this review, I want to talk about the battery life that I got with my Galaxy Watch 4. Unsurprisingly, I was getting the same battery endurance that I was getting with my Watch Active 2, which is about a day and a half of battery life, and that number is pretty close to Samsung's quoted 40 hours of battery life. And to put this battery life in context, I want to walk you through how I set up my Watch 4. First and foremost, the display brightness is turned to 60% brightness with auto brightness turned on. I have the always on display turned on. I disabled the raise to wake gesture and turned on the touch screen to wake setting. My screen timeout is 15 seconds. As for the Samsung health tracking features, I have the heart rate measuring turned on to continuous. Step tracking is turned on, sleep tracking paired with blood oxygen tracking and snore detection is also turned on, and lastly, I have the inactive time alerts enabled during the weekdays. In conclusion, while I'm still dreaming of the day that I can answer WhatsApp calls from my wrist or having more than 2 days of battery life, the Galaxy Watch 4 has provided me with a more complete smartwatch experience than my outgoing Galaxy Watch Active 2. There are some minor quirks to Wear OS that I wish would be addressed in future software updates, but this is overall a pretty compelling package, especially given that this new Wear OS 3 is still kind of work in progress. Now, whether or not I would recommend the Galaxy Watch 4 to you, my answer is probably no if you're using a non-Samsung phone. From what I read online, some of the health tracking features like ECG don't natively work, and paired with the fact that you need to install a few additional apps like the Galaxy Wearable and Samsung Accessories Service, both of which are pre-installed on my Galaxy S10 Plus. Adding to that, this is just the first smartwatch running this new Wear OS 3, and I do believe it's worth waiting to see other smartwatches from companies like Mockboy, Fossil, or even Google that will likely provide a more native experience to Android devices regardless of their brand. As for Samsung phone users, I'll recommend it only if you could get it at a good price, but even so, I would tell you to wait out for next year's iteration so that this new operating system can mature a bit. As for me, the price that I got the Watch 4 meant that the upgrade from the Watch Active 2 was basically a no-brainer. I got a pretty good trade-in deal from my Watch Active 2 that Samsung has unfortunately stopped offering after the first week of pre-orders. So yeah, these are my thoughts on the Galaxy Watch 4. Let me know down in the comments section below if you have any questions that you might have about the Galaxy Watch 4. I'll be happy to answer them. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you very soon in the next video.